All right. So today we got Danielle Smith. 5 hours ago. She is a premier from Canada, Alberta, and she's like oil friendly. She's a conservative. She doesn't believe in like the green politics. So I am curious what she's gonna say because of a lot of the I've listened to a lot of the politicians from
Well, good
Canada,
afternoon.
but she's one of the ones I haven't heard from. She has a little controversy around her because I looked her up before this, but she's mostly good.
Everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm pleased to be here alongside the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services, Mike Ellis, the Minister of Justice, Mickey Amory, the Minister of Transportation
Oh no. Oh no.
and Economic Corridors, Devin Dreeshen. We also have Justin Wright, MLA for Cypress Medicine Hat, and Inspector.
Look at the size of the guy's gun over there.
The sheriffs, who will share.
Look at the size of this guy's gun right here, Sheriff. I'm not messing with Sheriff. What even gun is that? That's massive.
Information on progress on our border security initiatives. But first, I'd like to address everyone in regard to the current tariff situation.
Here we go. Let's hear about the
My fellow
tariffs.
Albertans,
What's your answer?
Sadly, the United States President Donald Trump has decided to place a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods sold to the United States, with the exception of energy products, which will be tariffed at 10%. These tariffs are unjustified and a clear breach of the North American Free Trade Agreement, or CUSMA, that was signed by President Trump during his first term. This economic attack on our country, combined with Mr. Trump's continued talk of using economic force to facilitate the annexation of
Economic
our country, has
coercion.
broken trust between our two nations in a profound way. It is a betrayal of a deep and abiding friendship. Albertans have bonds of family and friendship and business with Americans that span well over 100 years of shared history. We have always
Okay, so far I gotta give my opinions. It seems very mellow compared to the rest, where they're like even Justin Trudeau. Even Pierre Polyev. I gotta say, he was very like intense and like, I can't believe Donald Trump would stab us in the back like this. So far, she seems like even keeled. I think that's the word.
always appreciated
She just
and
seems
shared
calm.
the American ideals of entrepreneurship and free markets and civil liberties. Albertans, like so many Americans, also feel a strong sense of identity and are fiercely independent, as our fellow Canadians are well aware. But let there be no mistake, as independent as we are, Albertans are strong and loyal Canadians.
I gotta know now. I believe Alberta is the province and Saskatchewan that might be interested in joining America because they do have the oil, and Canada's politics is very anti-oil. It's very green friendly, climate initiatives, carbon tax. So that really affects the business of a province that main source of income is oil. Also, she was instrumental in getting something passed that provinces have a say, at least her province, that if some law by the federal government is unconstitutional, they have the right to deny the law. Come on. Oh, no way. What did I do? It just disappeared. It just disappeared. Oh my god, how does that happen? What did I press? There we go. Here. Hopefully I can find it easily. There we go.
We ready to go, Sam? Security initiatives and loyalties aside, in response to the threat of economic pressure from a foreign government, even an historically friendly one, Albertans will decide our own destiny, free of coercion from any government. So today I'm announcing the following measures in response to the actions of the U.S. President. First, I've directed my cabinet.
Let's see how this is going to affect me as an American citizen. This is the rebuttal. This is the retaliation. Let's see what is the retaliation from Danielle Smith. Give it to me.
To alter our procurement practices to ensure the government of Alberta, along with our agencies, school boards, crown corporations, and all Alberta municipalities, purchase all needed goods and services from
Canada first.
Alberta
Canada
companies,
first.
from Canadian companies,
Purchase from
and
home.
from countries with which
Doesn't
Canada
affect me
has a
so
free
far.
trade
So far we're
agreement that is
good.
being honored. Second, no further purchases of U.S. alcohol or
Shit.
new VLT.
Well, I don't sell alcohol, so that's okay with me. But for the alcohol owners, the big companies, sorry.
Will be permitted through the AGLC until further notice.
All right, so far
Just have
two
to drink
things.
a bit more BC wine and
They're
Alberta
gonna
craft beer and
prioritize
spirits, and that's just fine
Canada
with us.
businesses, and they're
Third,
taking
I'm
away the
directing my
alcohol.
government to assist our grocers and other retailers with labeling all Canadian products in our stores and ask them
Made
to
in Canada.
voluntarily purchase their stock from vendors in Alberta, Canada, or countries that we share free trade agreements with that are being honored. Our government will also augment these efforts with a substantial advertising campaign to assist Albertans to more easily access information.
So they're gonna do.
about where
They're gonna spend money and advertise on Canadian goods and what's American goods, so they don't buy it.
products
Cool.
on store shelves.
All right, let's check this out. As of the most recent data available, American alcohol sales in Canada have been significant, though exact figures can vary depending on the source and time frame. 2023 alcohol exports to Canada were valued at approximately $262 million. Whoo! Yeah, so it's not a small amount. I guess that's going to have a big effect on the alcohol
from.
industry.
I understand as well that there's at least 4 apps that have been created in recent weeks and months that can assist Albertans in doing this. And fourth, my government will enter into free trade and labor mobility agreements with every province that is willing to do so.
It should have been like this the entire time. Why do you guys have roadblocks between interprovincial trading? Dude, you guys should have taken those off yesterday, like 3 weeks ago. Just get rid of all that. You know tariffs are coming. Why would you even keep all that up? And the carbon tax, dude. Just kick it down the line. Forget about it. No one will even know it came up.
No exceptions, just free trade and free movement of Canadian workers right across our province. I also want to point out that Canada has a secret weapon in the
Oh, really?
conflict
What is
with
it?
the United
The
States.
electricity?
A trump card, so to speak. And it is located directly under our feet, and it is called Alberta Energy. You see, Alberta happens to have
True.
one of the largest.
So, Donald Trump always says that we can be energy independent, but the gas or the LNG we have is like the thinner, almost like water viscosity oil, which is more expensive. So we like to sell that, and then we like to import the cheap Canadian crude, harsh, viscous oil. So yeah, that's gonna have an effect on prices of oil, I believe, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Largest deposits of oil and natural gas on the planet. It is significantly larger and far more accessible than the quickly declining oil and gas reserves located in the United States. Whether the U.S. president wishes to admit it or not, the United States not only needs our oil and gas today, they are also going to need it more and more with each passing year once they notice their declining domestic reserves and production are wholly insufficient to keep up with the energy demand.
I think Trump is betting here that before we even get to that level, Canada would collapse before America. So I think this is a little bit of a gamble. But if it went long enough, if Canada survives long enough, then yeah, it's gonna have problems. But we'll see. This is crazy. And don't forget, they're going to slap another round of tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd. And that's going to piss off more countries because India's going to get it. The EU's going to get it.
U.S. consumers and industry, let alone having anything left over to export as they do today. We in Alberta would love to increase the amount of oil and gas we send to our southern neighbors to help solve that problem for them. Currently, they buy about $100 billion a year of highly discounted oil from Alberta, which tens of thousands of U.S. workers and refineries then upgrade
and Canada, if they weren't so reliant on the U.S. Trade, if they had diversified and they were selling it to others at a much higher profit, dude, Canada would be so rich. But instead, You can't even get an east to west pipeline because certain provinces said, no, you know what? This benefits us zero. We don't want anything to do with this. So it's Canadian provincial politics between each other is so strange to me. But hey, I can't say anything because American politics is like a clown show. So I don't know. But it's trying to pick up on other countries' political systems is absolutely mind-boggling. There's too many moving parts to understand.
To $300 billion worth of value to sell around the world. We have made a lot of Americans very wealthy.
Yes.
It's in both of our countries'
Yes.
best interests to double the amount of Canadian crude moving south. It means more Canadian jobs and even more American jobs. It means lower fuel prices for consumers.
So far, the one thing I like about her better than Pierre too, like she's not making a scene about it. She's obviously making her pitch. She had to respond somehow because she looked like a puss if she doesn't do anything. But so far, I'm not even mad at her. I don't even feel any emotions.
Consumers and more U.S.
Just so straightforward.
Influence all around the world. In fact,
Danielle
we've been
Smith.
approached with several new pipeline proposals to take more Alberta oil and natural gas to the United States, given the U.S. president's stated goal of U.S. energy dominance. Stated simply, the U.S. cannot be anything approaching energy dominant without Canada supplying a portion of the oil and gas. It is just a fact. The Alberta government wants to facilitate...
Like, I don't know about the specifics of that, but absolutely it's going to have an effect on the prices for now. But if Trump can diversify where we get our... Well, it's going to be hard because getting it discounted from Canada is obviously way better than getting it anywhere else, because anywhere else you get it from, there's going to be an ocean apart, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end, but both sides have a tad of leverage. I think Trump has a little more leverage, but yeah, it could be detrimental to our economy if Canada decides to go full nuclear.
And to partner with U.S. companies and even the U.S. government to achieve their energy goals, we really would. It is the ultimate win-win scenario for both of our countries as well as our citizens. But how can Alberta actively partner to expand pipeline access to the United States when its president just slapped a 10% tariff on our energy products and is devastating the other industries in our province and our country with a 25% tariff in violation of an agreement that same president...
I don't know, to be honest, like, if they just remove the carbon tax and stop the interprovincial trade, I don't even think they would feel the tariffs that much. I think it would ease the problems. That's kind of what Trump's proposing here in a way. He's like, yeah, price might go up, but we're going to take taxes down. Something Lutnick, I don't know what he is exactly on Trump's cabinet, but earlier he was on Fox and he was saying that the goal is with these tariffs that we're going to replace the Internal Revenue Services. That's us paying taxes. He wants to get rid of that. And then the ERS is going to take care of the ERS, External Revenue Services, would take care of the funding the government. But the reason why they're cutting the government so much now, I mean Doge, is because Thomas Massey introduced a bill today that would get rid of the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury would take that responsibility. And there would be strong caps on how much debt we could take out once it's balanced. And that would mean that there's no blank checks and there has to be some checks and balances for government spending. Which means, yeah, you need to have Doge cuts in order for the External Revenue Services to work, or else we're going to be running deficits again. So in my head, I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening, but in my head, that's kind of what I see slowly working its way towards that. And the reason why he's doing like these incremental tariffs, he already teased the tariffs a couple times. In my opinion, I think that's just to like ease the Americans into the idea that we're going to see a little tick down, we're going to have a little bit of problems. But in the end, we're switching. No more income tax. So, well, that's not for sure yet. So we'll wait to find out 100% for that.
First term in office. And the answer to that is we can't, and we won't. So until our U.S. friends come back to reality, we will focus on efforts and financial means to export one of the largest oil and gas deposits in the world elsewhere. We will look.
The problem
to our
is,
own
too, with Danielle Smith's argument, the one problem I see is, I hear you, the Trump tariffs make it hard. It makes it annoying for business, us and Canada, but also the federal government and the green policies make it to where they can't even properly capitalize on the liquid gold beneath their feet. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Not only is Trump affecting business, but Justin Trudeau and the Liberals in charge are affecting business too. And this weird thing of like, every province can decide what's good and not good for them. Like, if a pipeline was good for the whole country, I would assume that all the other provinces would agree too, even though, I don't know, strange.
Nations west and east and north coasts. We will partner with industry, provinces, First Nations, and the federal government to build multiple oil and gas pipelines to all of our coasts for the purpose of dramatically increasing Canadian energy sold to Asia and to Europe. And as soon as the U.S. government is...
Yeah, Europe. You guys should be selling everything to Europe. Everything. They don't want to work with Russia? Dude, step in.
To respect our country,
I don't get that at all.
As allies and partners again, we will welcome the opportunity to partner with them to achieve North American energy dominance. Of course, for this strategy to work in Alberta, we will need to see a significant attitude adjustment from many of our fellow Canadian political leaders with respect to the importance of unlocking and exporting Canadian energy around the world.
There we go. That's what I was talking about. I'm happy she hit on that. It's not just Trump. You gotta also blame your own government a tad. They've really been holding down the oil industry in Canada.
But
Canada should be rich, filthy rich.
Exactly that right now, and that they will elect politicians who share that view, regardless of who they may have supported previously. Alberta is counting on it. No nation on earth has more resource wealth per person than Canada. We have the potential to be an energy and economic juggernaut.
That's what I'm saying. I've been saying that this entire time. Ever since I started keeping up with Canadian politics, I was like, this doesn't make sense. You guys have so much natural resources, plus your population is only at 40 million. Like, dude, you guys should be worth 200,000 each citizen.
Able to punch well above our weight class in virtually anything, from energy to manufacturing to technology to military defense. As Canadians, if we're going to survive this dispute with our neighbors...
I have to disagree on the military and defense. Lacking on that side too.
In the short term and win in the long term, we must commit to this strategy. No more excuses. It's time to start building pipe, developing resources, and constructing new ports on every coast without further delay. And as for existing oil and gas sent to the United States, Alberta does not and will not support cutting off or taxing Canadian companies on existing energy.
Wow, dude, respect. Every other Canadian politician does not give a shit, dude. Doesn't care at all. They just want to look cool for their campaigns. They just want to sound great for PR. She said, listen, some retaliatory tariffs I'm not going to do because it's going to hurt our population. Why isn't this lady running for Justin Trudeau's job? She would do pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I obviously just met her though. I did a little research on her. I don't know everything. She has some controversies, but she seems like such a reasonable person so far.
Exports to the United States, and that's for two key reasons. First, doing so will hurt Canadians far worse than Americans should the U.S. retaliate in kind, which they will. The United States retaliation would most especially hurt those in Ontario and Quebec, which still rely on importing fuel.
Yeah, Trump also said, since Justin Trudeau put a 25% tariff, or he's putting tariffs on our stuff, he said he would increase Canada's tariff by the like amount. So it would be 50% tariffs if it goes through. I don't know if he's serious.
From the United States, largely due to the cancellation of the Energy East pipeline project. If we had Energy East, then cutting off or taxing Alberta crude without energy ease, cutting off or taxing Alberta crude going south is utterly self-defeating. But also importantly, U.S. polls are showing that the Trump tariffs, especially against Canada, are not at all popular.
Well, hold on there. Hold your horses, lady. It's popular, but what's not popular is the stock market going down, and what's not popular is everybody's saying all these things are going to get really expensive. It's the end of the world. That's why it's a problem. But everything else, it's not that big of a problem.
With the stock market. And that unpopularity is growing and will continue to grow daily as these self-destructive tariffs drive up the cost of food and fuel and housing and almost everything else for American consumers. Cutting off energy entirely would make Canada the bad guy for Americans, and we don't want that.
Yeah, that's tough too. They're not only trying to figure out what's best for them, but if they piss off the Americans, like the population, then Trump has even more of a reason to continue the economic coercion, right? It's all public sentiment and optics.
We want the Americans to blame their struggles on the actual source of their problems, that being the Trump tariffs.
There you go.
So instead, every Canadian leader should be engaging with the American people, their governors, and members of Congress to use their power and their influence to reverse the tariffs. To that
no, we can't do anything. You can't do anything. If you guys are if the government of Canada fixing their border, making it a little cleaner, does not help with the tariffs, there's nothing Canadians and Americans can do. I'm sorry. It's set in stone already. I'm actually not even that opposed to it.
That end, I'll be traveling to Houston next week
to
continue that push. After all, the friendship and bonds between the United States and Canada are far deeper and more lasting than any one person or government.
But which province is the one that's threatening to secede? I saw a video earlier of this chubbier dude with a cowboy hat on. He's like, yeah, we're going to go down. We're going to see what it would take to become a state. There's actually a movement in some of Canada's provinces.
And as upset as we are, our quarrel should never be with the American people. They are our friends and family. Now, finally, my fellow Albertans, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. The road ahead is very bumpy. If these tariffs continue for months or longer, there will be significant job losses. There will be higher inflation and lost opportunity. And there will be large budget deficits as our government seeks to cushion the blow for Albertans while ensuring...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the long run, if Trump keeps this on, it's going to be worse for Canada than America. American prices will rise a bit, but we're not going to lose jobs. Canada will literally shatter. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what company, but there was a company already saying they've started laying off people. And then Canadian politicians like Justin Trudeau want to extend the unemployment insurance to cover more people. That's their solution to this.
Continue to provide the public services and infrastructure.
I don't think that's
that
good
you and
enough.
Your families rely
Sorry.
on. But let me also say that there is not a shred of doubt in my mind that we will prevail. We are a strong and
Canada first, Canada always.
We stick together
here.
And we help one another when the going gets tough. We are relentlessly innovative, and we find ways to overcome virtually any challenge placed before us. We always find a way, and we will do so again. And oddly enough, this crisis may ultimately result in our province and our country becoming more unified, more prosperous, and more powerful.
Honestly, I already see that. Trump does this to every country. He attacks Europe. Europe all of a sudden is like, we don't need the U.S. Let's get our army going. Let's get our military going. European Union army, let's go. He attacks Canada. Canadians are like, yeah, we the true north. Elbows out, Canada. Bum, bum. So yeah, it's a common theme. It's really weird to, you got to catch on these coincidences.
Powerful than ever before. Make Alberta and Canada remain forever strong and free. And thank you for that. And now I'd like to turn things over to Minister Mike Ellis for an update.
Oh, Mike Ellis, who this? I didn't research this guy. Mike Ellis.
Well, thanks, Premier. Certainly a pleasure to be alongside Premier Danielle Smith, Minister Amory, Minister Dreeshen, MLA Wright, right here in Medicine Hat. I also want to thank Inspector Ken Howdle and Secure delivering on considerable resources to get boots on the ground as quickly as possible.
Is this for the
very proud
fentanyl?
to announce that today the new Alberta Sheriff's Interdiction Patrol Team is playing a very key role in our ongoing efforts to stop drugs,
There we go.
gun smuggling.
See? You got it. Yeah, but I guess that is a problem, the gun smuggling from America to Canada.
Human trafficking.
I can see
and
how that
other
would be
illegal
annoying.
Border crossing activities.
Hey, maybe you guys should
Currently,
tariff
we
us
have,
more in that
20
case.
members that have been assigned to the IPT patrol between entry points along Alberta's side of the border, with the remaining 31 to be fully deployed in the coming months. They're already making a very significant difference and an impact on crime that is traveling in both directions. I can assure you that our portion of the border in Canada is secure, as they continue to focus
side, though?
on known
The north,
hotspots of illegal activity
south?
and keeping a watchful eye over anything suspicious. Most of these sheriffs are also trained to conduct commercial vehicle inspections, allowing us to bolster operations at vehicle
Let's skip
inspection
forward.
stations of apprehended drug traffickers.
Who's this guy?
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here this afternoon to share what Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors is
Transportation.
doing, our part on our
How are
southern
they going to
border
make
with the
life
United
cheaper? Let's
States.
see.
We are building 3 new vehicle inspection stations near the border to give our sheriffs dedicated facilities.
Okay, so it seems like the premier, Danielle Smith, she basically laid out the summary of what they're doing to America and Trump. And then this guy was basically the border czar, the fentanyl czar, the guy that spoke prior to this man. And he was just explaining how they're stepping up their responses to tariffs and what their part that they're playing. And this guy is like Pete Buttigieg, and he's like the transportation secretary of Alberta. And he's going to give his spiel on how he's going to make Canadians' lives easier.
Inspect commercial vehicles, whether they are crossing into the United States.
Oh, no, he's
or
talking
coming
about
into
transportation too.
Canada. Now, these stations will be located at
Yeah, I heard that's a problem as well. Canada, a lot of the, like, freight, you know, those big tankers that come from China with the massive gargantuan boats. I heard some of those go unchecked and the fentanyl comes through with those. That might be one of Trump's problems. So I think that falls under this guy's jurisdiction. Maybe he'll touch on that.
At Highway 1 at Dunmore in Cypress County, Highway 3 at Burmis in the municipality of Crow's Nest Pass, and Highway 4 near Coots in the county of Warner. And we've dedicated $15 million over the next 2 years in Budget 25 for these improvements. Now, these stations will include enhanced lanes.
You know, it's kind of funny to say, like, doesn't this almost seem like they're auditioning for Donald Trump, saying, hey, look at us. Look what we did. Is this enough? Can you ease it on our I mean, it's good. I'm not complaining. It's a good thing. You're like, can you ease the tariffs on us, please? No 10%.
For vehicle inspection and new buildings for year-round inspections. This is an added layer in addition to the existing border stations. And we are also working closely with our highway maintenance contractor to add yet another layer of border security. Security doesn't always have to be complicated or high-tech. A lot of it is...
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that. Like, it doesn't have to be high-tech. You just got to put the resources towards it. If you don't put the resources towards it, then it's just unchecked, open. Anyone can do whatever they want. But as soon as you put resources and there's some kind of deterrence, it definitely pulls the numbers down for... Like, look at the southern border here. All they did was... Oh, not all they did. It's a pretty massive step. But they just shoved a bunch of agents up in the border. Now, anytime anyone wants to cross, they're seen. They don't even need the wall.
Based on people. And sometimes all that is needed are an extra set of eyes. And that's why Volker Steven, our provincial maintenance contractor along the border, will be training their operators to be on the lookout for irregular activities near the border during their highway maintenance work. Now, Volker has about 50 operators that work along the border.
It's also interesting. We're moving into a technology-centric society. The West, everybody is. So it would be interesting to see what AI and drones could play in this. I think they could do real well. Oh my God, bro! Did we go back to the beginning?
Well, good afternoon.
Fuck. Sorry.
National border is critical to Alberta's
Oh, hold
security.
on.
Amory to the podium. Thank you.
Let's see who this guy is.
Well, thank you, Minister Dreeshen. It's certainly a pleasure to be here to join Premier Smith, Minister Ellis,
How you doing, sir?
Minister Dreeshen, Justin Wright, for today's update on how Alberta's border security plan is curbing illegal activities at the Alberta-U.S.
I
border.
didn't catch what this guy was, though. Maybe he'll say it again. But he has the jacket like that guy, so I'm assuming he's part of, like, the... I don't know what you call it over there. It's not Border Patrol. It's something else.
Along with the border security measures that Minister Ellis has been describing, Alberta's government committed in December to creating a 2-kilometer deep zone to be designated as essential infrastructure under the Critical Infrastructure Defense Act. I'm pleased to report that we moved quickly to fulfill that commitment.
What's going to happen in this zone? I like it. I like it so far. But what's going to happen in this zone?
At the end of January, we amended the Critical Infrastructure Defense Regulation to designate a critical border zone north of the entire Alberta-United States border as essential infrastructure. The Critical Infrastructure Defense Act protects essential infrastructure from trespassing, interference, and damage.
Dude, I love this. I like this. Alberta, you guys can join America. They're getting their shit done. You realize, like, they come out here, they have these practical steps. They're like, this is what we're doing. Hopefully it's enough. Even if it's not enough for America, it's enough for us. You know, we're doing good. Everybody else is just fear-mongering, trying to talk to American citizens, saying this is what's going to happen to you, like Justin. I hated that. This is like,
That could cause significant
this is nice.
safety
This is what I think of when I think of
social,
Canada.
economic, and environmental consequences.
Just straightforward.
The Act allows
AF.
Cabinet to make regulations that prescribe buildings, structures, devices, or other things as essential infrastructure. This regulation-making power allows
All right, let's skip
government
forward.
officer fines willfully entering on Bill C-5 in full and reintroduce mandatory minimum sentences for controlled drug and
There we
substances
go.
act offenses.
It might be the death penalty soon, but you guys are a little more liberal than us, so I could see why that wouldn't work.
If the federal government
Trump just
refuses
announced
to
that,
take
though.
these actions,
Drug dealers get
call on
death
them to
sentences
provide
now.
us with the federal funding
Pretty massive
required
step.
for Alberta to take over all prosecutions under the Controlled Drug and Substances Act. With the proposed transfer in federal funding,
All right, let's see who else.
we have
Who's this? Who's this?
caseloads, and ensure viable criminal cases are prosecuted. This increase will also support the creation of a human trafficking unit,
Trafficking.
which will be tasked with prosecuting human
That's
trafficking
important
related
too.
charges and support
I wish
police
my
and victims
Canadians
of
were in
crime.
here. I don't know if that's a big problem in
Whether we are
Canada.
strengthening border security,
trafficking.
calling on the federal government to toughen its approach to crime, or investing in the Alberta Crown Prosecution Service, we will continue.
Good afternoon.
That's a healthy
Thank you,
beard,
Minister.
sir.
I am pleased to share that we have significantly strengthened the security at Alberta's southern border. I'd first like to extend my sincere thanks to the RCMP and Canada Border Services Agency for their continued work enhancing the safety and security of our border in coordination and collaboration with the Interdiction Patrol Team.
Yeah, so this is
These collective
Alberta is like on our northern border, and it's their Canada's southern border.
efforts have played an essential role in many successes that we've seen since the start of the year and which we expect to see in the future. As Minister Ellis mentioned, we are rapidly building out the Interdiction Patrol Team with a goal of staffing 51 specialized positions in the coming months.
All right, so this guy is more of like, it sounds like he's more of the manpower behind the operation. He's the one that's going to be staffing the people to go to the border. These more are like infrastructure. This guy was kind of infrastructure. She's just the head, figurehead. This guy is the more hands-on approach guy.
By mid-April, we expect to have 34 sheriffs assigned to the team to patrol entry points along the Alberta side of the border.
All right, I like that.
Recruitment for support staff positions, including dispatchers and analysts, is underway. Many of these sheriff positions will be drawn from Sheriff Highway Patrol, whose members have extensive experience investigating criminal.
Yeah, guys,
criminal-
I just
sorry, criminal-
I just looked it up real quick, and there was a video recommended to me saying how how Alberta is the province that there's a movement where they want to join America. I don't know if it'll happen, probably not, but you know, For as much as Canada talks about Trump, there's provinces that want to leave on their own accords.
Criminal offenses and specialized training in conducting commercial vehicle inspections, which have already been
Kind of crazy if you ask me.
Currently, all access points.
Yeah, and I never thought about that too. Like, Trump says Canada will become the 51st state, but what if certain provinces join America so that no, I'm not saying it would happen, but I'm just saying I don't think Trump even meant all of Canada. What if just Saskatchewan and Alberta secede and there's like this little boot up there? It's part of America. I don't know, but it seems like there's a little momentum there. The other provinces, absolutely not. They would freak.
Township roads, range roads, south of and including Highway 3 to the Canada-U.S. border are being actively patrolled by the IPT. Equipment procurement remains a critical ongoing part of this team's success. Our members need and will have specialized gear required to ensure operational.
Yeah. Shouldn't have sent all your gear to Ukraine. Might have been able to use that on your border now. That's the thing that's weird too. Like, Canada seems like such a rich country, but recently they brought down the requirements for you to join in their like army, military, one of those. It's saying like if you have asthma, you're okay. Any ailments, you're fine. And now this guy's talking about how we're going to need some kind of equipment. We're going to give them the equipment, but we need to procure the equipment first.
Agility and accuracy through the southern border region. In addition to night vision equipment to assist the team in their 24/7 operations, work is underway to procure all-weather drones and infrared.
I was just saying that. I called that drones, AI. Let's see if he touches AI.
As well as trained canines.
No, canines. Better than AI.
Training for members
cuter than AI.
within the team to fill specialized roles such as dedicated drone pilots and dog handlers. Having significantly increased our capacity since the new year, we are already seeing positive results of our bolstered patrol presence.
You know what, too? Like, I feel like some of these people were held back too by politics before Trump made the threat. But now that Trump made the threat, I feel like they might be a little happy to know that they could do their jobs. It's kind of like America under Biden. If you were securing the border, you were seen as a bad person because freedom of movement, apparently. Anyone can go wherever they want. So I'm wondering if Canada will have the similar scenario. Because, I don't know, there's no Canadians in here. The chat's not pumping like the other days, but I don't know. Would you guys want a stronger border, or you guys don't see it as a problem? It's just interesting to me. I can't get like proper Canadian perspectives just by listening to politicians because they all are slanted in a way, biased. But a regular Canadian would be like, nah, fuck that. That's not how it is here.
As of today, the Interdiction Patrol Team members operate.
There's 9 of you in here. If you can, please drop a like for no reason.
2 mobile,
Thank you.
7-member patrol teams deployed mainly from Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and Burmis. 6 other members work in teams of 2, deployed at the vehicle inspection stations located on Dunmore on Highway 1, Burmis on Highway 3.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they keep bringing up the vehicle inspections because maybe that's for smuggling or something. I'm not sure. There's a lot of car problems in Canada.
And Coots on Highway 4. These teams operate in staggered shifts to increase operational coverage at the stations. The instances of criminal and illegal activity uncovered since the Interdiction Patrol Team began operations speak to the need for continued vigilance and swift acting law enforcement.
Yeah, see, it's weird to me. The big politicians are like, oh, you guys barely find anything on our border. It's not even a problem. But then you listen to these guys and they're like, yeah, we're noticing a big difference in, security, border security, fentanyl, whatever. So which one is it? Is there not a problem? Or, because for me, I believe this guy. I believe this guy more than the head politicians, I don't know, strange.
Enforcement, as well as the effectiveness of increased and enhanced vehicle inspection capacity. Recent traffic stops conducted during the team's interdiction and border security patrol duties have led to the apprehension of 3 separate individuals.
All right, let's see who else is talking. This
in the
you
possession.
can kind of get
Reminder,
the
we'll be taking one question.
you can
and
kind of
one
get the
follow-up.
vibe of it,
Go ahead.
of what
Jordan
they're
Cannigan
doing.
with CTV News. I have a question
We don't
for
need the full
Premier,
thing.
and then perhaps Minister Ellis wants to talk about this as well. We heard a lot today from both the President and the Press Secretary for the President talking about
Let's see what the
fentanyl and
Premier
the
has to say.
issues the United States is having with that. The Press Secretary, for instance, today saying that there's been a 2,000% increase in the amount of fentanyl coming from Canada into the United States. I don't know where those numbers are
Yeah,
coming
2,000% increase from when though? I think she was referencing like during the Biden regime, like prior when Trump was there, it wasn't much, and then during Biden's, it pumped up like 2,000%. I don't think she was saying that the fentanyl is pumping now, because they obviously Canada's doing better. They're doing some stuff.
from. I don't know if you can dispute those numbers, but how
I'm
confident
curious
are you
though. I'm
that
curious. Maybe she'll rebuttal. I want to see her answer.
the
I can be wrong. I'm
actions
wrong
that
all
you're
the time.
taking here in Alberta will
I just throw out my
address that
opinions
and
on
at least
anything.
appease some of those questions that the president seems to be having.
Sure. I mean, I don't say it lightly when I say our border is secure. Now, look, do we have a fentanyl crisis in North America? For sure. As previously noted by the RCMP, we have over 4,000 organized crime groups that have set up shop in Canada. We have, as confirmed by the RCMP, we have become a net exporter of fentanyl, so that is a concern.
See?
However, I can tell you.
See, if you listen to the regular politician, Justin Trudeau, whatever, her weird face, moon face, you're like, yeah, no, it's not a problem, this and that. Dude, you guys are a net exporter of fentanyl. Net exporter. Does that sound like you barely have a problem, or does that sound like you're killing people in America? So that's what drives me crazy. Like, in the same press conference, they'll start contradicting themselves. At one point, it's like, oh, we're doing better, I'm seeing results. And then on the other side, it's like, we don't have a problem. I don't understand why they're putting tariffs on us. He just said it. You guys are a net exporter of fentanyl. Just like Mexico. Sure, you guys don't send as much, but you still send it.
Tell you that our Alberta law enforcement response teams have been working very closely with the DEA, as an example, to make sure that border is secure and that they're stopping the flow of drugs from Canada into the United States. But remember, I've said this before a long time ago, this is a two-way street. There's a lot of drugs that are coming from...
Yes, I agree on that. America's not innocent. We get guns over the border. We get drugs in your borders too. But that's the point. That's why you guys should shut down your border. It'll be good for both of us. Of course, I think America should do something too up on the our northern border. But we'll see. We need to get funding first. They need to pass the spending bill in America.
United States.
I think I think Trump mentioned he earmarked a specific amount he wants for border security and deportations.
Into Canada. There are illegal guns that are coming from the United States.
Yeah, I agree. Guns overload here.
Trafficking, right? That is coming from the United States.
I agree with that too.
The 4 people, I believe, that were fairly recently caught were not going from Canada into the United States. They were going from...
and that's why I always stress the importance of having a border, right? Like, for us, having a strong border is good here because there's no drug trafficking, there's no smuggling of humans. And that's why I think even for Canada, it would be beneficial to shut your borders because, if you don't know what's going on, if people are coming by, trafficking, drugs, guns, whatever else, it's a recipe for disaster.
The United States into Canada. So I would hope that the president shares with us our concerns regarding the border. Certainly in Alberta, we are doing our part to secure the border.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I've said it many times. This press conference, out of all the Canadian press conferences, has sounded the most reasonable. When they ask questions, he gives a practical answer. He doesn't try to fearmonger and talk shit about Trump or America. Nothing, just straightforward. He's like, this is my rebuttal. America's bringing this stuff in. But yeah, we have a little bit of a problem, and we're fixing it. We're doing good work. I love it. How can you hate?
The president do his part to secure the border as well.
And maybe if I can ask the Premier to answer that question as well. Yesterday on CNBC, you also talked about how it appeared that the President was moving away perhaps from the fentanyl issue. Today, again, it comes up. A second part of to my question.
Yeah, you can never guess what Trump's doing. It's so confusing for me too. One day he's like, tariffs. The other day he's like, never mind. One day he's like, tariffs. The other day he's like, never mind. It's because of China. It's because of the banks. I don't know. It's so hard to keep up.
Is about
but it is entertaining.
Being against export tax and whether Canada should consider that at all. What is Alberta willing to do if the federal government does put in some type of export tax or decide to cut off?
All right, what will they do if they put an export tax?
Energy to the U.S.
Well, an export tax would be a violation of the 1977 Pipeline Treaty. We've committed to not tax the content of energy products going down to the United States, and I would hope that the...
Wow, dude, I am so impressed. I listened to Doug Ford. He's like, we'll do it, I swear we'll do it. We're going to cut off the power, we'll cut off electricity. We'll do it, okay? She's like, well, it's against the law. We don't really want to do it. I think they have the right if we're attacking that. I don't know. I think she has the right to do something. But I think Trump would appreciate that stance by saying, nah, we're not going to do that. It's against the treaty.
The federal government would abide by Alberta's wishes not to unfairly tax our jurisdiction. I know what an export tax would mean. $150 billion worth of product taxed at 25% would generate $40 billion for Ottawa. That would then be spent on Ottawa's priorities, and I have absolutely no...
Interprovincial beef. Interprovincial beef. Canada's problem is not America. Canada's problem is the bureaucracy in Canada itself.
No interest. You will notice that when Doug
carbon
talked
tax,
about
carbon
adding a surtax,
tax.
He wasn't talking about Ottawa adding an export tax that then would be collected by Ottawa to be decided where it was going to be spent by Ottawa. He's adding that tax so that he has the ability to keep those dollars in his own province to be able to defray any of the damage on his own people. So I would say it is not on. It's not been on from the beginning. And you do not demonstrate that you are a reliable supplier of energy products to our most important trading partner.
What a smart lady. I'm going to research this lady more. She's better than Pierre. I'm sorry if you hate that, but she's better than Pierre.
Partner by acting in that.
I wonder if she's a World Economic Forum agent. Because you know what? If there's 12 people in here, if anyone's from Canada, let me know. How much does she support Ukraine? Does she support Ukraine more than Pierre? Or does Pierre support Ukraine more than her?
There's no circumstance under which I would support an export tax. The other question you had was?
I was just wondering about, it seems to be the goalposts are moving all of the time.
It's not, it's not that the goalposts are moving. It's that he has two different tariffs that he's charging. One tariff is related to border security and fentanyl.
Why is this lady so refreshing to listen to? Why is she so... She's better than 95% of American politicians. And he was trying to bait her with that question, saying, he's like, oh, why is he doing this confusing stuff? I'm even confused, but she's like, it's not confusing. We have two tariffs. There's the reciprocal tariffs, and then there's the tariffs because of the drug problems.
No. And that's what we're dealing with now with the 2510 tariffs. The other issues that are coming up in the context of trade irritants that will be needed to be discussed in the context of a renegotiated Canada-U.S. free.
Okay, so she cleared that up a little bit for me. So he's doing the tariffs. One of them is for the drugs, the 25% blanket tariffs, and then the reciprocal tariffs is just to respond to the tariffs other countries have against us. And then the other stuff that comes up is related to whatever problem he has, with whichever one. Makes sense to me.
Agreement. Sometimes when
and he's trying to use that as a negotiating tactic. So in 2026, he can use that as leverage to negotiate a better trade deal for America. Wow. I'm going to start listening to this lady more.
Too, but there's very clearly a long list of grievances that the U.S. president has. I would put it to you that I think Alberta has done its part in matching the effort that the Americans want to see. And I was just in...
Can they just become a state already? Alberta, 51st state, Forget about the rest of Canada. I want her to be the governor of Alberta state.
And I can tell you,
the state of Alberta.
The issue that we're facing in Alberta at our border appears to be.
Thank you for the like, whoever dropped it. Appreciate it.
From the U.S. into Canada, whether it's cocaine or crystal meth, the issue of migrants seems to be exclusively people coming across from the United States into Canada. A woman in the room said that 2 or 3 times a year she sees families with suitcases, and I asked the room.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like that at all. I don't want Americans abusing Canada's borders. I don't want to invade Canada. Fuck that. Shut it down. Shut it down.
About 200 people. How many people?
Eventually, when this is all cleared up, you'd be welcome back that relationship. What would it take in terms of guarantees from the United States that this sort of thing wouldn't just happen again?
This is curious too. As crazy as the tariff war is, what's even crazier is how is this gonna end? Who's gonna come on top? Is anyone gonna come on top? And what kind of sacrifices are people gonna make? Provinces gonna make? States gonna make?
For you to move ahead on those pipeline proposals?
Well, I think we need to have the same kind of tariff-free relationship on the bulk of our goods that we had prior to March the 4th. I mean, when you look at the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement, there are some areas.
Yeah, it's funny too because some Canadian politicians bring it up, and it's true. And the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement was actually agreed upon during Trump's first term. So it is kind of hypocritical that he's making fun of the terms when he was there to sign them away.
Tariff, but it's about a 96% tariff-free relationship. And I think that there's a few things, obviously, that the American administration wants to address in future negotiations. But that's the forum to address them, not by unilateral.
I'm confused, though. In the first comment underneath the video says, once a sellout, always a sellout. I'm not that deep yet, but I will get that deep. If there's controversy about her, I will find it. But so far, judging by her speech and how she reacts to questions, gangster. Gangster.
Agreements that we had that we thought we'd negotiated in good faith. So I gather there's been some movement today. Before I was just monitoring Twitter, which you seem to have to do every 2 hours.
Dude,
what,
she's one of us. Do you guys do that? 12 people? Do you guys ever doom scroll Twitter waiting for news? I do that every day.
Issue, but it seems like the 3 major American auto manufacturers have convinced the U.S. president that they would shut down in 8 days if they didn't get some reprieve from the auto tariffs. And so it sounds to me like that has also been moved a month. So
yeah, I heard that. Caroline Leavitt, the U.S. press secretary, said that not that they pleaded, but they convinced Trump. They just reasoned with him. Trump said he's open, like even for other things. If someone makes a good case, he'll adjust it. Hey, so I guess maybe the politicians from Canada were correct. If they convince the American public to complain about something, Trump might change it, because that's his whole policy, right? I do what America wants. So, hey, maybe they got a point there, to be honest.
So those are the kind of things that demonstrate to me that there is the ability for our allies and friends in the United States, among the elected representatives, consumer groups, as well as industry groups, to make the case about this strong relationship. We had some success already in making that case on energy resources.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. From the responses I heard, just not that Trump said anything, but the people surrounding Trump, it seems like they got the best reception for Canada.
On energy.
I mean, fuck Canada. Alberta.
Success on the auto sector and getting to that point as well. And I think it's up to all of us. We have to, the next big issue, of course, is going to be on food products, manufactured goods, intermediate goods.
But Canada charges America 270% tariffs for milk, 20% for lumber, 100% for tobacco, some percentage for cheese. So, like, I don't know. The relationship's kind of weird the other way too.
That's what I would like to see. I think we are all working for a virtually tariff-free relationship, and I hope we can get there sooner rather than later.
Okay, and just
yeah, and that's also Trump's play with the reciprocal tariffs. He's gonna do reciprocal tariffs until the other countries either their businesses come to America or that country removes their tariffs from America, if that makes sense.
To provincial trade barriers. You said you're open to all issues, I suppose. Now, a lot of these in the past have been pretty provincial jurisdiction areas that you've held pretty tight. It's a sort of a foundation of your government to increase in provincial jurisdiction. And if you're asking the federal government and other provinces to come to the table on pipelines, is there something you're willing
Yeah, that's a fair point. If you want the other provinces to make concessions so that you can win a little bit, then what concessions are you willing to make, Danielle, to help your fellow countrymen in other provinces? What is your plan? Let's see.
to maybe step back
So far, she's been reasonable, though. I think she's going to give a spot-on banger response.
or work with or move on in order to make that negotiation work?
The only issues that where we have unilaterally eliminated interprovincial trade barriers faster and more fulsomely than any other province. So that
Okay. We're going good here. She's on the right track. She didn't say, "Oh no, it's okay, it's fine." She's like, "Oh, we were actually moving in that direction of removing interprovincial barriers."
the areas where we still have some additional protections are around hazardous goods, the issues
What's
of
that?
royalties.
Like nuclear
and
bombs?
there's 7 professions where we have a higher level of training. I'll give you an example. We allow dental hygienists to do anesthesia. Anesthesia is very
Yo,
dangerous.
that's
You need to
weird
have-
too. Okay, now I understand why it'd be harder to integrate. Well, no, because states are the same. It's not like every state's policies here are exactly the same, but we don't like tax each other. We don't tariff each other for trade. Like, if Texas has oil, they wouldn't charge us an extra ridiculous fee just to give us oil. It seems kind of nut.
have extra training for that. And so there is a little bit of work we need to do on the 7 professions where we have a higher level of training, but there's no reason why we can't have people come here and work.
Oh, elitist, huh? We have better standards in Alberta.
And then be able to get that extra training. They need to do those extra services. I think those are things that can be overcome. But there are very few areas where we have barriers. We actually have
Electricity would be one example.
We have no barriers on electricity. It's the other provinces that do. We're the only province that has a free enterprise system on electricity.
But getting that agreement would involve some sort of major negotiation, wouldn't it?
Well, we would just ask everyone else to I think that's a question for other premiers, because they're the ones who don't have a free enterprise system for electricity. We do. We have a multitude of companies that are generators. We've got a free enterprise system where different companies are offering transmission, distribution, as well as retail. So anyone is allowed to come here and go through our process to propose. We don't have barriers there.
Thank you. We're going to take one more from the mic and then take a few questions from the phone.
Adam McVicker with Global News Calgary. Hi, Premier.
Hi.
One of the aspects you mentioned there at the start was about some of the steps. Number one, procurement, but also with HLC and alcohol.
I had to go to the bathroom.
ELTs. How significant of a step is this, and how will Albertans maybe notice a step like this here in this province?
We're back.
Well, I can tell you that there's $292 million worth of liquor equivalents from. We did a joint announcement, as you probably saw, at the beginning of January with Enbridge. They have a very comprehensive package of proposals that, if all of them went ahead, would result in a significant increase in the amount of oil they're able to take to the United States. There's also South Bow, which
I think that's going to happen too. Eventually, they're going to find a compromise on how, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like America and USA, if we were on the same path, like aligned politically, and you guys didn't worship green energy, we could have a powerful Northern America here.
has the previous
Drill, baby,
infrastructure
drill.
from
Let's
the
make
Keystone,
everybody rich.
From TC
North
Energy
America will
on
be a
the oil side.
kingdom.
I know that they are contemplating a proposal as well.
There's 10 people in here. You guys have been really quiet. Usually the chat goes crazy, gets mad at me for saying something wrong. Where you guys at? Say something ridiculous. How do you guys feel about Canada, tariffs, Danielle, Justin, Trump, Gary Giggles, Glendale Gary?
And there's a number of American partners that could potentially partner with our company. So I have a proposal that I'm readying to present to the U.S. administration.
There we go. Trump loves that. Trump loves that. Give a proposal. We'll see. Let's make a deal. Deal makers. We'll negotiate.
When these tariffs are removed, to let them know that we are supportive in working towards increasing the amount of oil going to the U.S. I think with the combination of proposals I've seen,
I love her.
We could see an increase of 2 million barrels or more per day increase by 2030. But none of those conversations can happen. Well, we have 25% tariffs on our food producers, on our manufacturers, on our chemical producers, on all of the other consumer group or consumables that are tariffed under the current situation. So I think there's a quid pro quo. If we want to work together as partners, then we've got to be partners, and we've got to go back to having a tariff-free relationship.
It'll come. It'll come soon. Don't worry.
Just to follow up,
is this guy on the phone?
An approach about diplomacy with the United States over the last couple of months. Do you think that has failed? Do you think that has to shift now?
No, it's been successful.
No, I don't think so.
The fact that,
think about it though. Everything got 20% except for oil in their province. I don't know. I think it's a part of it is because we rely on it. But I think I genuinely think Trump would like her personality because she's not really attacking anybody. She's bringing practical steps. Even her squad behind her, who she chose to speak, solid points.
10% tariff rate instead of 25% is a recognition, I think, that energy resources, whether it's oil and gas or critical minerals or electricity, are vital components of
Let's
US
go
success.
51st state Alberta.
If you want to be able to
Olisan 69. I like that energy, man.
exert American
Or woman.
influence
I'm not sure, but
geopolitically
whichever one you are.
through oil exports,
In America,
we
it's either one or the other. We
oil
don't
to
have
be
the
able to
in-betweens
backfill so that
anymore.
American consumers
And
are
Alberta,
protected.
the 51st state, soon will only have men and women too.
Very successfully made the case that there were a multitude of refineries that would shut down potentially with 25% tariffs, and it would certainly cause an increase in the cost of fuel. I just saw a story today that even 10% tariffs are going to increase the cost of gasoline by 30 cents a gallon in some jurisdictions. I think that message was heard loud and clear. It could have potentially been almost 3 times higher than that. So I would say that we've been
ours or
able to be
hers?
successful on making. I'm talking about Purdue Pharma, which has had a multitude of lawsuits filed against it. So I would say that a lot of this problem started in the United States, and it's morphed into being a
Canadians are so
international
nice.
problem. But the Americans have to
Except
take
for Trudeau.
responsibility for the fact that they are also
And
a
Carney.
net exporter of cocaine, crystal meth.
But
and
normal
they
Canadians are
responsible
so
for this as
nice.
well. Like,
How are you
I
guys
can't-
so fucking
I can't
nice?
stop all the deaths from happening in the United States. They've got to do some of the work on that too. We can certainly decrease them. As we've
That's our
demonstrated
first
in
shot the
Alberta.
entire time.
Our approach with our recovery-oriented system of care, getting people on Suboxone and Sublocade, putting people into treatment when they're in corrections facilities, having recovery communities that we're continuing to grow, and all of those various ways of being able to support people in recovery has reduced our opioid deaths by 40%.
Good.
And so that's
Love to hear it.
after 6 hard years of work.
Yeah,
So
it takes
I
time.
think if the
And yeah, for us, it's like we didn't have 6 years of work. We had 4 years of negative work. So Trump has to do like 15 years of work in the next 4 years.
The answer is going to be no one.
That's why he's so
ever
unhinged.
dies from any type of drug. If that's going to be the bar, then I think we're going to have we have to have a bit of a reality check. We all have to be doing our part, but I think the Americans also have to accept that some of this is their responsibility too.
And also,
It's Joe Biden's fault. It's his administration's fault. We didn't choose that. We didn't choose any of that. Well, actually, half of America did, but they changed their minds, and that's why we're fixing it now. But I agree, in a way, America opened their borders irresponsibly, unvetted immigration. It's almost as if they wanted this to happen.
yesterday, Premier Doug Ford, unrelated follow-up, indicated that he's had conversations with your Saskatchewan counterpart, Scott Moe, about leveraging Saskatchewan's potash and uranium as part of a Team Canada response to tariffs. Have you had similar discussions with Premier Mo?
Premier Mo from Saskatchewan. Yeah, those are the two oil-heavy economy provinces in Canada, I believe. So it would make sense that they're neck and neck. They're close to each other.
There's two ways that we can address the issue of the trade deficit. That seems to be one of the other things that keeps coming up. The Americans seem to be very concerned that, depending on their calculations, that we do not buy as much stuff from them as they buy from us. I don't think that's true, quite frankly. I think if you take out oil and gas,
I think it is true,
which they clearly need as a raw material, we actually buy more goods and services from the United States, $58 billion more. So I think if you did that calculation, we come out pretty good on that. And so, but if there's some desire to see that be zero, even when you include energy, I guess there's, as I said, there's only two options. We figure out
so
ways
practical. Even if she doesn't agree, she acknowledges that that's what he wants. She's like, we can negotiate.
Buy more from the United States, and I think we can. I mean, I think we need to do more military investment.
Yes.
Do more procurement that way. We need.
Yes, more military investment, please, please. Absolutely, Trump wants that. If you see Europe, they're getting gobsmacked by Trump right now because of that issue.
Build icebreakers. There's lots of components that go into military material that we can also purchase. And so I think that there is a way for us to bridge our NATO gap and buy more from the Americans and also reduce that trade deficit. The other option is we sell them less. We sell them less oil, we sell them less gas, we sell them less critical minerals, we sell them less aluminum, we sell them less nickel, we sell them less uranium, and that's another path we can go down.
That's smart. That's smart. That's a smart statement because that's the stuff we need. That's why Trump's been trying to go into Ukraine. He needs minerals for the AI and weapons we want to build. So that's a good leverage point, ma'am.
I think, quite frankly, that is the direction that is good for
shrewd operator.
Nations. And so I would far prefer to have a constructive conversation about how we can increase the amount of bilateral trade.
Yeah, same. That's just beneficial.
Thank you. And we have time for one last question. We're going to take one more from the phones. Operator, could you put through our next caller, please?
Last question.
Your next question comes from Robert Tuttle.
Robert's Turtles.
Your line is already open.
Yes, hi, Premier. I just want to ask you on the issue. I know you said no to export tax, no to cutting off energy, but would you contemplate at all, or would you rule out any kind of curtailment in oil exports, just a curtailment of any kind?
She already said no. She already said no. She's not going to do that. That's against agreements.
I don't know that that's necessary. I mean, a couple things. As I mentioned, we can always choose to sell our products to other markets. And
but here's the part she might not include. You can sell your products to other markets, but I do think it would take a little time to set up those little routes, the agreements. It wouldn't be as smooth sailing as selling it to America. So even in that regard, they would have a little bit of hiccups on the way, and it's kind of a longer term play. Just like how they say we're gonna increase military spending and our military in general, but it's like you can't just do that immediately. That's a long term play there. You can't just say that, snap your finger, the next day your military is like China's numbers. Don't work that way.
Line, as a for instance, they transport 3.5 million barrels of our oil all the way to the Gulf Coast. If the Americans don't want to buy it, then we can sell it to other trading partners. We could sell it to India. We could sell it to Spain.
Europe,
we could sell it to other countries that have oil refineries. If that's what
they need it so bad, Germany is dying.
Sell our product somewhere else if they don't want to buy it. We can also do the same thing with Trans Mountain. Trans Mountain, the bulk of the product is going to the United States because the Americans don't have pipelines to their west coast, and so
because of our dumb, we have Gavin Newsom here, who's pretty much Justin Trudeau. Same thing. He doesn't want pipelines. We pay the highest gas in California.
And so they're getting Canadian oil out of Trans Mountain.
But that's on us. We need to fix that.
To be able to feed those
we need to get rid of Gavin, 2026.
Also, as I say,
unless he gets arrested beforehand.
Other jurisdictions who do want it. If that's the conversation they want to have, then we can have that conversation. But I don't see any reason why our producers and our Alberta ratepayers should be penalized. I think if we've got a valuable product, then let's sell it to those who want it. and let's try to find a way to get those to new markets.
What a legend. What a legend.
And also on the issue of, you said right now we're halting anything on
friends, that could generate potentially, 30 to 40 billion dollars that will also allow them to access new markets. Market expansion, of course.
All right, guys, that's it. I think we got the gist of what Danielle Smith is like. So, like I said, Danielle Smith is my favorite politician now from Canada, but it seems like there's some controversy on her. Maybe we read the comments. Let's see what the comments say. Dear Premier, you are tempting me to take my 1.8 mm cash south. You cannot tell individuals what we can or cannot buy. If we can afford to pay the tariffs, so be it. The person driving up my cost is Trudeau, not America. Your stunts are pathetic. Leave Ford to be the clown. Wow, they didn't like it? I kind of liked it, though. So then Amazon, Walmart, Lowe's, Costco, Home Depot should all be forced to stop bringing in products as well as shut their doors during these tariff wars. Otherwise, you're hypocrite. And now I know you are a globalist and another embarrassment to this. Oh my God, is she a globalist too? I didn't think she said anything crazy. I thought that was so reasonable. I see what you did there, trying to divert from your main post comment section. By the way, this is still going to show up regardless of your globalist plans. You getting eviscerated on your live stream. So just going... Dude, I'm so confused now. I thought she was doing well. You are wrong and you are a sellout. You're Alberta. Why did you flip-flop on this? You said Alberta wouldn't retaliate because it wouldn't be conducive to the conversation. You promised you'd be the voice of Albertans to Ottawa and Washington. You're pulling a Doug Ford and bringing back Prohibition-era alcohol restrictions. Canada. I'm so confused. You guys are confusing me so much. Every single comment is bad when I was just glazing her the whole time. You crossed the floor again. I had that feeling you were compromised. Whether it be bribes, extortion, or threats, you are towing the globalist line and you should just step down now before you do more damage. The government should stop telling citizens what they can and cannot do. Hey, I agree with that. That makes sense. Why are they deciding what alcohol stays and doesn't stay on your shelves? If Canadians are so against it, they just won't buy it on their own. The government doesn't need to tell them what to buy. Smith's mouth, Trudeau's words. Buy American. Take your Team Canada and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. I can't say that on here. Danielle Smith has turned her back on Alberta and is now fully supporting Justin Trudeau. Not a single positive comment on X. What happened? Yeah, I don't know. I was hearing rumors that Justin Trudeau is trying to stay in power somehow through these trade wars, using it as an excuse to cling on. But I don't know if that meant Justin Trudeau himself stays in power, or is it because of the Carney connection? Carnival-Carney connection. So sad. I had high hopes, but I guess I should have hoped for a good politician here in Canada. This whole announcement can be summed up in one word: disappointing. AB is now going to be committing exactly the same strategic errors dealing with America as the other provinces and our federal government. This is going to be a slow and painful death of Canada. It is now 100% inevitable outcome. I'm ashamed of you, Danielle. You're showing your true colors and you're being compromised somehow. How though? What happened? Is it cause she promised she wouldn't do anything back, or where's this backlash coming from? I would like you please do what we elect you to do. Set up an Alberta tax collection and a full Alberta police force. The tariffs are going to happen. I would like the steps you campaigned on to happen also. Enough. I didn't take enough L's the first time, so let me repost it. Danielle, you're another politician who thinks Albertans are fools. We can choose what to buy on our own. We don't need you telling us what to buy. Yes, you're another politician who's costing us hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising to brainwash us. Yeah, that one seemed kind of weird to me. She said she's going to spend money on advertisements so they can coerce Canadians to buy Canadian goods. You blew it. And you still have to chat with me about the future. Yikes. Yeah, great idea. Trump's already pressuring American companies to come back to America. Let's give them more reason. What happened to diplomacy? You had it, now you blew it. What are you thinking? Alright, well, there you have it, guys. We got the video. We got my opinion. And then absolutely every single Canadian disagrees with me. But the entire time the chat said nothing, dude. Are you guys from America? You're just learning like me? Alright, well anyways, drop a sub, drop a like, we'll be back.